Welcome to Monday, Detroit. We are honored to have our guest from the Disability Network in studio with us. I will let her introduce herself to you with title.
Good morning. Yes.
Hold on, you're right in that mic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're with Lori Hill, the Executive Director of the Disability Network, Wayne County, Detroit.
Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
We have Lori in, who I think has a fascinating conversation. You have been at the home of Disability Network since you started when?
9/11.
9/11.
9/11.
Of last year.
Yes, 2017.
All right.
Wow.
So you're about to embark on a 1-year anniversary in a few months.
Shortly, absolutely.
You took this position, how and why?
I had actually, Mason, because of my disabilities, had pretty much considered after my last position as an executive director with Taylor Reading Corps, had basically considered that I was in that category, which I still am, of being disabled. And one of the things that attracted me most to being the executive director or to that ad was that an organization that would actually embrace the fact that I had disabilities.
All right. So let me help people here.
Okay.
You were not sure that you were disabled. You knew it in the medical sense.
In the medical sense, I
But
knew that I was, but
in
I
the
never.
workforce.
In the workforce, I didn't want to classify myself as that because of the number of doctor's appointments that I had. That would all be an interference with trying to work a full-time job.
You would, if you declared full disability, you would not have to work.
Absolutely.
You did not want to do that.
No.
And there are many people
Who don't want to do that?
don't want to do that.
Who wants to be on a fixed income? You have a master's, additional certifications from Michigan State, and who wants to put themselves into that box where they really can't move on and be the person that they've always have been because of a disability?
All right. So you are a professional.
Yes.
At some point, you made this decision. Help people understand what your disability is.
I was actually born with an extra rib.
I've never heard that. How many people are born? Is it 1 in 1,000?
No, 1 in a million.
1 in a million people are
One in a
born with
million.
an extra rib.
Yes.
Women.
Yes, and what this extra rib actually did to me, it cut my subclavian artery, so I was actually receiving no blood flow to that extremity, that arm extremity whatsoever. I went through probably a number of 9 surgeries in one day, and that was all in an attempt to not amputate my whole arm. At that particular point, I had some very innovative vascular surgeons. Because of my age at that time, I guess they saw that could be just a waste. So they did everything possible. And I mean, it took so many surgeries because they would bring me down and then things would start to clot. They would have to take me right back up. And being that young age, being healthy, I was able to go through those 9 surgeries, being in ICU 30 days, being in a hospital almost 60 days to recover from that process, and I'm still only receiving 80% blood flow to this extremity right now. And at some point, I'm going to have to go someplace and see if the Cleveland Clinic is willing to go back in, because one of my prosthesis, because I have prosthesis arteries that they had to use, has occluded, which means that the blood flow has actually shut off once again. So, but it's not an urgent matter where I get the numbness, I get the tingling, I do have to take some medications to help me rest, all those things. But if I was at somebody's corporate America, I would be out the door, because no one wants to be bothered with an employee who has all those medical issues. And that's why I'm so grateful to my staff. I'm grateful to the Disability Network, because they have truly embraced my disability.
Now excuse me, Max, I have to ask the question. You said something very interesting. You said if you were in corporate America, they wouldn't want to be bothered with someone with your disability.
They won't. They can't say that.
Oh, I know, but it would it's come to that.
Exactly.
It would come to that, and they would make it look real pretty on paper.
Absolutely.
Logistically, so they won't have to suffer the backlash of being sued.
Absolutely.
Well, wait a minute. There lies another fascinating story. We won't get into the details, but you had a case.
Yeah.
That you could have easily
Oh,
won.
And that was just being deemed as disabled. Bernstein is still sending me letters, and I'm like, I'm done with that. I have found my niche. I have found an organization that embraces me, the fact of my education, and I don't have to continue to gain weight, continue to be depressed because I'm not able to do what I want to do because I've got to deem myself as being disabled on a fixed income, living a lifestyle that I wouldn't typically want to have to live.
But that helps you in
fascinating
terms of
story.
dealing
Yeah.
with your clients or your consumers or the
Absolutely.
population of the people. So you can go in or train the staff to go in and assess certain things that someone that's not dealing with what you're dealing with probably wouldn't notice or
The
see.
receptionist was blind.
Yes.
Wow.
When I came to see her, the receptionist was blind, but she knew I was there. She's like, hey, don't be trying to sneak up on me. She's like, I ain't hear you. But she of course, I didn't know
So
exactly who I was looking for, how to get there. She was
Okay.
able to navigate. She took off from the desk and went and found everybody that I needed and came back. So I have a sheet over there. They'd be out of it.
Well over 75% of my staff has to have disabilities.
That's
Well
amazing.
over 75% of my board members are disabled.
Yes.
And disability covers a very wide
Talk about
spectrum.
the spectrum.
I mean, it can be something such as obesity. It could be something as a child with asthma, all the way to someone being a paraplegic. So there is a wide spectrum.
Is
of
there also
disabilities.
mental
Oh,
disabilities?
absolutely. Substance abuse is a disability.
Yeah.
If I have an employee that has a substance abuse issue, I have to treat that employee as if he has cancer, diabetes, because that is a disease, and I have to work with whatever that disability is. And that makes my role a lot more because I'm dealing with staff that has disabilities, and as opposed to doing things that your typical organization would do, I have to try to think of what's going to be the best fit for this individual because each one of my staff members is an asset to that organization.
Yeah. It was like sitting in that lobby when you was watching the movie The Matrix, and he had to go into the lobby with the kids. That's how I felt. Hey, everybody was special except me. I'm like, how you get this special? Less than a year, you found this position. Were you in search of this position to try to do something? How did you become?
Basically, what I was doing, I was an adjunct professor at Wayne County Community College.
Explain that to the layman.
Just a professor at Wayne County Community College. I was teaching nonprofit curriculum, which would include grant writing, how to start your 501c3, and things of that nature. And that was a very non-demanding kind of schedule where I may have worked 2 or 3 days a week,
Okay.
a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Saturday. 2 hours. How complicated is that?
Well, you not me. So I still be there from last week. This is what I mean. It's like a matrix room. So how did you find Disability Network?
I have always, because I've been in the nonprofit industry for well over 12, 13 years, I always go into the Michigan Nonprofit Association, and they have a job website. Well, they will post positions that are in the nonprofit industry.
You saw it.
Yes, I did. I saw it and I applied.
Took you how long to be hired?
And it was really one of those kind of situations. The day I interviewed, I had to leave that next morning going to New York to my grandmother's funeral. So I was kind of saying to myself, I've got so much to do to prepare to leave to go to New York. Can I do this interview? Should I just not do it? Maybe this is saying I don't need to apply. But, my husband said to me, just do it. That's all you got to do is be you. Do you and just go and do it. And that was probably July the 28th. And by 9/11, September the 9th, I got a call from the board member asking would I accept the position and could I be prepared to go to a contract negotiation meeting with MRS that same day. So that's why it's kind of ironic that I started 9/11 because things were really an emergency.
Wow, that is a terrific story. That is a terrific story. So with that story being told, there are so many people out there who are going through deep depression because they're disabled. Either they're one trying to live with it their way, may not be familiar with services. There are others who have lived with it a long time and are not aware of the different services that they can get. You are a go-getter in services.
Yes, we are.
Lucky to see you in the building when I do, or you're so smart, they send 13 other special people, they put me back in that matrix. Like, whoa, I'm defending myself. They're so smart. You know how I am about smart people. Everybody in there is really, really smart. But they are all soldiers, and they are ready to go to war.
But that's what makes it special that, sometimes you go into a place and there's nobody there that you feel that you can relate your specific situation to. So to go into a facility and everybody there or everybody that you come in contact with is relatable to what's going on, so you can actually be very transparent and say, this is what I'm going through, this is how I feel, this is what's going on, and somebody can say, oh, well, you can do such and such and such and such, and it's catered to. Everything else is catered to in terms of your lashes, your hair, your this, your that, or whatever, but to go somewhere where you can explain your situation and have somebody say, technically under the laws and the guidelines, that is considered a disability, and we do have services that we can render to and for you.
So this is where you come in. If someone wanted service, they may not know exactly what it is that they want, and maybe you can talk about some of those things that are helpful to those who are disabled.
Well, the interesting thing is we provide services in our office. We provide services off-site. Off-site meaning we are in high schools working with high school students in our youth transition program. We're working with youth that have disabilities, and we're working with those youth to get them ready that by the time that they graduate from high school, they are going to college. They have decided a vocational discipline that they want to go into. So we work with youth. We have a nursing home transition program where we actually go out to nursing homes and individuals that want to be independent and live on their own. We transition those individuals from a nursing home and place them into their own home. That's one of the services that we provide, and lots of peer group, lots of support, lots of programming that deals with benefit planning. Sometimes individuals with disabilities, they don't know how to plan with that fixed income that they're getting. They don't know where they need to live. So working with them to balance and plan the benefits that they receive. We work with veterans. We just started a program where our veterans person is going to be able to start working with a funeral home and a cemetery, so that people that are veterans that have passed will be able to provide that service of getting them buried. And it just, the services that we provide, and we're developing new services. We have a partnership with a apartment complex where we're actually allowing students that are disabled to go into a apartment complex and learn how to live independently.
Wow.
They do that as a group, and that's for the younger ones where they're in a group. They don't have the opportunity to stay overnight, but then for the adults that are disabled, we have a program where they can actually go into an apartment facility. We work with them 5 days, teaching them time management, how to grocery shop, how to clean your bathroom, what appliances you actually need, what resources are in the community in which you live in. And a worker actually comes with that individual 3 times a week for 4 hours, and they work on those independent living skills. And then the apartment complex that we're working with actually will give that individual 2 days that they can work so that they can get themselves accustomed to being up at 8 o'clock in the morning, so that they know what it is like to get up, go to work, plan for that, if they need to plan for a lunch and work, and they will actually receive a stipend for those 2 days that they're in that program to actually do work at that complex
So
All right, wait a
facility.
minute, hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna get some phone numbers from you